love the Arizona-based events. We talk about the WM Phoenix Open every year when the Super Bowl comes to town, but there are events that happen in Arizona every year that add to the legendary status we've gotten when it comes to putting on big events. It starts off, we have the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, and of course, we all know about the Fiesta Bowl this year. It is going to be bigger than ever. To talk about both of those bowl games, joining us right now is the Executive Director, Erik Moses. Erik, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Always great to be with you.
You know, last time we talked, you were just getting in town and kind of settling in. Now that you've been here for a while, what do you make of Arizona? What do you think of the sports scene here? And how have the bowl games been embraced here in Arizona since you've been here?
You know, I love this place, and I've got to say that of the places that I've lived, mostly on the East Coast, but including Washington, D.C., North Carolina, and Nashville, the sports scene in Phoenix, I feel, is more consolidated in terms of cooperation and collaboration than many of the other places that I've been. There's a willingness to work together, and I think you also see that as an extension of kind of the various volunteer groups we have across the state and the valley, including the Yellow Jackets and the Thunderbirds and the Diablos and the Charros, and I can go on and on. That says something about the people in this state and their willingness to volunteer, to help out, to not only help great causes, but to also take that Arizona pride and demonstrate it day in and day out. And that certainly is helpful to those of us that put on large events.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we had the Thunderbirds on talking about the tournament and how much everybody that works so hard to put that on. But the big deal that they love most is writing those checks and telling those nonprofits how much help they're going to get. Can you talk about your organization and what you do in this community that kind of goes unnoticed because it gets overshadowed by the great things on the field, but it shouldn't? You do great work.
Well, thank you for saying so. And yeah, at the heart of our organization really is to give back to communities across the state of Arizona. And we've been doing that for 53 years and look forward to continuing to do it. But one of the reasons, and you may have heard about this or seen our press release, but one of the reasons that we are pivoting to a new umbrella brand of the Fiesta Sports Foundation is to make certain that there isn't this disconnect between our public brand and the work that we do, the breadth and the scope of the work that we do. We've been calling ourselves the Fiesta Bowl, which is essentially the name of a singular event, when we're doing work, as you know, Mike, all throughout the year, whether it's our Wishes for Teachers program that last year granted wishes to 500 teachers of $2,500 each, so they have to less reason to reach into their own pockets to provide the resources and the experiences that those young people in their care should receive every year, or whether it's our donation of a football field from the Guaranteed Rate Bowl to Fighter Country Foundation and Luke Air Force Base last year. I could go on and on about the things that we do with nonprofits throughout the state of Arizona to help make this a better place to live.
Yeah, and I think the work you do is incredible, and it is the perfect combination of what you get on the field. You deliver an amazing product that people love to see, but on top of that, the money raised goes to such great causes. Let's talk about the bowl games, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, moving the time. What's going on, and what can the fans expect?
Man, I can't tell you how excited we are to have a daytime kickoff at 3:30 this year. We have been in conversations with ESPN for years about seeking an earlier kickoff from our 7 and 8 o'clock kickoffs that we've had. And while it's December in Arizona and still warmer than it is in most parts of the country, having a daytime kick will allow us to really lean into the activations to bring families out. We all love Christmas and the winter holidays and being with family and friends, but the day after Christmas, to be able to get out of the house, maybe walk off some of that turkey and ham and the other things that you've been enjoying the day before, and coming out to a fantastic football game, a Big Ten versus Big 12 matchup down at Chase Field. I can't think of a better way to enjoy the holidays with friends and family than the Guaranteed Rate Bowl this year.
And what's cool about that being at Chase Field is that downtown element in the environment with the people and the fans staying in the hotels downtown, in the restaurants, in the bars, that it kind of intensifies whatever rivalry is going to happen for the game, but it just gives it that really cool atmosphere being downtown.
Yeah, I mean, look, a big part of what we do really is about bringing positive economic impact to the valley and to the state at large, and bringing folks in from across the country to follow their teams, to enjoy our weather, and all the other things that Arizona has to offer throughout the year, but particularly in the wintertime, is part and parcel of what we do. And activating downtown as part of the holiday season in Phoenix is really what we're going to be a part of. As you probably know, we moved the date of our parade back in between both our games. So you'll have the Guaranteed Rate Bowl on December 26th, and then we'll have the Vrbo Fiesta Bowl parade presented by Lerner and Rowe on the 28th of December, and then we'll roll right into the Vrbo Fiesta Bowl on the 31st. So it's going to be exciting this year. The Fiesta Sports Foundation will be helping to really bring a lot of energy and excitement, and hopefully a lot of people into the Valley this December.
Let's talk about the Vrbo Fiesta Bowl being on New Year's Eve, being a big player in the national championship. What's that mean to you guys, and what does it mean to Arizona to have that kind of attention being paid to us again?
I think people forget that of the New Year's 6 bowls, the Fiesta Bowl is the youngest at 53 years old. I tell people all the time, I stand on the shoulders of those that came before me and our 9 founders who had the gumption to go out and to say, hey, all right, Arizona State can't get into these bowl games because there's some kind of bias. We'll start our own. And in a very short period of time, catapulted that game to the highest heights of college football in the postseason. And so we're happy to continue to be among those best games and highest games. And we will be part of the college football playoff, hopefully indefinitely. So it'll be great. We'll go into a rotation that has us as a quarterfinal, and then semifinal. This year we'll have a quarterfinal, the very first quarterfinal in CFP history. And then next year in 2025 will be a semifinal again. So we could not be more excited about continuing to show the country and the college football fans why Arizona is a fantastic place, and we think the best place to watch college football in the winter.
Well, I know that you are a huge college football fan. Obviously, so am I. With the changes happening in college football, how do you think it eventually will affect bowl season? You know, will it affect these big bowl games? And do you think this is going to eventually make college football better with the changes we're seeing?
Well, I've been looking out to see what your Canes are going to do this year, and I haven't seen too much just yet. But I think they may surprise some people. I think they're going to get back on the right road.
Listen, from your mouth to God's ears.
Look, I think that the creation of a 12-team tournament is something that is going to not only satisfy our current college football fans across the country and frankly across the world, but I think it will do a lot to help us to convince what I like to call fans in waiting to get involved. Think about how many non-college basketball fans are caught up in March Madness every year.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Because of the storylines,
yeah.
Right? The storylines and the upsets and all of that. Well, we have that same opportunity with a 12-team format to draw people in with those storylines. So I think the expansion is good for college football. I will say that all of the other changes in terms of the conference realignment and consolidation, kind of the transfer portal, NIL, the lawsuits going on and all of that, I think that we are not anywhere close to seeing things become completely stable in college athletics and in college football in particular. And we may see some consolidation in big-time college programs. I'm not certain that 130-plus college football programs can compete at the highest levels with Alabama or a Texas or a Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, and maybe they shouldn't, right? So maybe we end up with a world in 5-10 years or something where you've got 60 or 70 programs that are looking to compete at the highest level, and then others are not necessarily caught up in that kind of arms race on facilities. And what, Mike, we know will be and is already an arms race for players.
Erik, I love this conversation. I could talk to you about college football all day. I love somebody as excited as you are. Thanks for coming on today and all the work you do. And I hope as we get closer and closer to these games in this season, you'll come on again and we'll talk some more.
Anytime you'll have me. Thank you so much for having us, Mike.
All right, that is Erik Moses, the executive director and CEO of the Fiesta Bowl, and it's just an exciting time. I think the bowl season is a terrific time for all of us.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.